All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a look at the digital battlefield. It's this constant, invisible war being fought online every single second. And it's not just something that happens to big companies. It affects every single one of us. So let's get into the world of cyber attacks and cybersecurity.
Okay, to kick things off, get ready for this number. 156 million. According to security experts, that's how many phishing emails get blasted across the internet every single day. Out of all those, about 8 million actually get opened, and from there, almost 1 million people click on a link they really shouldn't. It's a staggering scale of attack that we're all facing.
And that number just begs the question, right? In a world with all this incredible technology, why are security breaches so common? Well, it turns out there's some pretty big cracks in our digital armor. Let's take a look.
You know, the funny thing is, our own progress is what makes us so vulnerable. Our computer systems are way more complex than they used to be, which just creates more doors and windows for attackers to try and open. We've got bring-your-own-device policies, meaning our personal phones connect to work networks, which basically blows the attack surface wide open. On top of that, we all rely on software that often has known flaws that haven't been patched yet. And the people doing the attacking? They're not just kids in basements anymore. We're talking about highly organized groups, black hat hackers, even cyber terrorists. They're pros.
So how do these attackers actually turn one of those little cracks into a massive security breach? Well, they use something called an exploit. The best way to think about it is, if a vulnerability is a faulty lock on a door, the exploit is the specific key someone made to open that exact lock. It's the tool they use to take advantage of the weakness.
Okay, so we know why we're vulnerable. Now let's get to the interesting part, the how. Let's pop the hood on the attacker's toolkit and see what kinds of weapons they're actually using. Think of this as a rogues gallery of the most common cyber threats out there.
First up is a really nasty one you've probably heard of, ransomware. This is pretty much digital kidnapping. The software gets on your computer, locks up all your important files, photos, documents, everything, and then a message pops up demanding money, usually crypto, to get it all back. It's brutal.
Then you have the classic computer virus. The one we all grew up hearing about, right? It's basically bad code that attaches itself to a normal file, kind of like a parasite. It just sits there waiting for you to share that file or open it. And that one little click is all it needs to wake up and start spreading.
But then you've got the worm. And a worm is like a virus on steroids. It's its own program. It doesn't need to hitch a ride on another file. And here's the really scary part. It can copy itself and spread across entire networks completely on its own. No human click required.
And this right here, this breaks it down perfectly. A virus is basically a hitchhiker. It needs you to give it a ride by opening that infected file. But a worm? A worm is a traveler. It moves from computer to computer all by itself. And that's exactly what makes them so incredibly dangerous.
Next up, the DDoS attack. The goal here isn't to steal your stuff, it's just to cause chaos and shut a website down. It's like a digital flash mob that blocks the front door of a store so no real customers can get in. An attacker uses a huge network of computers they've secretly infected, we call them zombies, to create an army called a botnet. Then they point that army at one website and just flood it with junk traffic until it crashes.
And here we are, full circle. Back to phishing, the source of those 156 million daily emails. This is pure deception. Attackers craft emails that look totally legitimate, like they're from your bank or a package delivery service, all to trick you into clicking a link and giving up your passwords or credit card info.
And last in our rogues gallery is maybe the most patient and terrifying one of them all, the Advanced Persistent Threat, or APT. This is the silent spy of the cyber world. Instead of a quick smash and grab, these attackers get inside a network and just stay there, quietly. For months or even years, totally undetected, mapping everything out and slowly stealing massive amounts of data.
So after hearing about all of that, ransomware, worms, silent spies, you might be thinking, wow, we're doomed, right? It can definitely seem hopeless, but it's not. So how do we possibly fight back? Well, it all starts with the core principles of a strong defense.
Seriously, how can any person or company defend against so many different kinds of threats? Well, the answer, and this might surprise you, doesn't start with some fancy new technology. It starts with a simple, really powerful philosophy.
It's called the CIA Security Triad, and it is the bedrock of all information security. Every single good security measure is built on these three ideas. Confidentiality, that's about keeping secrets, making sure only the right people can see the information. Integrity, that's about trust, making sure the data is accurate and hasn't been messed with. And availability, that's about access, making sure the data is actually there when you need it.
So with that CIA triad as our game plan, let's see how organizations actually go about building their digital fortress. And here's the key thing to remember. Security isn't one single giant wall, it's all about creating layers of defense.
The first layer is the big picture strategic stuff. You have to start with a risk assessment. That means figuring out what your biggest threats are, how likely they are to happen, and what the damage would be. From there, you build a security policy, basically the rule book for everyone. And most importantly, you have a disaster recovery plan ready for when, not if, something bad happens.
Okay, the next layer down is the network itself. This is where you find the tech. A firewall acts like a bouncer at the door between your private network and the chaos of the public internet. An intrusion detection system is like a set of security cameras, constantly watching the traffic for anything suspicious. And then there's encryption, which is just a fancy way of saying you're scrambling your data into a secret code that's unreadable without the key.
And this brings us to the final and honestly the most critical layer of defense, the human element. It's us, it's you. People often say humans are the weakest link, but a trained, aware user is actually the most powerful defense there is. Technology can fail, but security education helps people spot phishing emails and other threats that automated systems might miss. That, plus strong ways to prove who you are and good antivirus software, that turns a potential weakness into your best line of defense.
But look, let's be real. No fortress is ever completely impenetrable. No matter how many layers you build, a determined attacker might still get through. So what happens then? That's when having a clear, practiced incident response plan is absolutely essential.
A really solid response follows these steps every time. You notify the right people, and then you immediately contain the breach. It's like quarantining a sick patient to stop an infection from spreading to everyone else. Then you get rid of the threat. But maybe the most important step of all is the last one, the follow-up. That's where you figure out exactly what happened so you can learn from it and make your defenses even stronger for next time. This whole process is so critical, a lot of companies now hire special firms just to handle it for them.
Which really brings us to the final takeaway here. Understanding this stuff, this digital battlefield, it isn't just for the IT experts anymore. It's for everyone. Because while an unaware person can be the weakest link, a person who knows what to look for is the absolute strongest defense. So think about it. What's one simple thing you can change today to make yourself just a little bit safer online?